Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. We've got another great small bit chunk of an interview with Zach Miller. I watched the documentary about Zach Miller put out by Billy Yang not that long ago, and I thought, I have got to talk to this guy. He was gracious enough to respond right away, so I've got him for an entire hour-long podcast, but today's clip is about 10 minutes long. We're going to get right to it. We talked some about what it was like to work at bar camp on Pike's Peak, along with slaying the dragon of one of the hardest races in the world, the UTMB. Away we go. Speaking of UTMB, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being who cares, 10 being if I don't win this thing, I'm going to keep coming back until I do. Where would you rate that race?
I'm probably at like a 9. I'm pretty high up there. Like I'm pretty stubborn on like trying to get that one right. Like, but there are other races that I'll take a crack at. But I've very much been stuck on that one for years now. So, but yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, I won't be bummed if France and the race organization determines that it's not a good year to have UTMB for like the full international field. Like, I don't know, maybe that sounds weird, but like, I'm just, with the pandemic, I'm just very like, we got to do like, we're all doing the best with what, like, we got to do the best with what we got, which is like a brand new situation that we kind of like are all shooting in the dark in. So I'm just kind of like, if we need to postpone races for a bit, like that's fine by me. And maybe I'm extra that way because of this injury, but I'm just like, I don't know, like I don't, even though I make my living racing, I just don't like overall see racing, I guess, as like a necessity of life. Even though I know it like enhances a lot of people's lives. I think there's a lot of ways to kind of get out and scratch that itch without actually having a race.
If you look at your previous UTMB performances, is there a through line of what's not gone the way you wanted, or has it been just very different each time?
Yeah, it's kind of been a little, in my mind, it feels like a ping pong ball. Yeah, like my closest, so you could argue the closest I ever got to winning, and I don't know if I'll ever win the thing. I mean, I like to try to win the thing, like that's, that fires me up. But like you could argue the closest I ever got to winning the thing was the first year when it was my first try at 100 milers. I mean, it wasn't necessarily my fastest pace, but it was the farthest I ever got with the lead. Like, I think I got all the way to, like, I lost the lead at Champs-Élysées, which is usually where the wheels start to fall off. But I rebounded and came into the next town, or maybe it's 2 towns, I don't know. Basically came into the next main town with Ludovic Pomeray. We were right together leading. And that's like, I don't know, that's like 25 miles from the finish, something like that. So that was the farthest I ever got. That was my first year. I think the next year I had a back injury. I ran the race. I finished the race, but I kind of had this hampered preparation because of this back injury that I had gotten. And then I think the year after, I'm trying to think. I think the year after that, I was having maybe my best UTMB. It's like not the farthest I got with the lead, but like my best performance. And then it all blew up at Champs-Élysées really bad. And then I think the year after that was just like, it was just not good.
Which was
like the from the get-go, and
which was the year they rolled you out in a giant Home Depot cart. They put you on that thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, so that was actually not UTMB. There was a year I came out of UTMB really roughed up, but it wasn't on a home cart. It was actually in a helicopter, which I didn't want to take, but I don't know. The Europeans are different. Like, they just kind of made me get in the helicopter. Like, I was like, no, I was like, I want to stumble my way to this next road and get myself out on my own. Like, I worked at bar camp. We had to pull people off the mountain, like, for search and rescue. And I'm always like, if I get myself in there, unless I'm like dying, I'm getting myself out of there. And, so in UTMB, I was like, well, I know I'm like in rough shape, but I'm going to like get myself out of here. Nobody needs to like take me in a helicopter, but they wouldn't let me. So they took me in a helicopter. But anyways, the Home Depot cart was JFK. The second time I ran it, which, is a different race from UTMB, but I never got checked by like a real doctor, but like I probably like tore my hamstring in that race, and that's why I was on the Home Depot cart. I mean, I don't know if I tore it. I don't know exactly what the definition, like, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but like basically probably like 6 miles into that race, I felt a tweak in my hamstring. And my response was like, it was really, the course was snowy and kind of icy that year. And I remember when it happened, I was like, that's not ideal. Like, that was my response while I was running. I was just like, I was like, that's not ideal. But I didn't like panic. But then I kept running, and then it just grew. And so basically I ran another 43 miles or 44 miles or whatever I'm guesstimating. And by the time I got to like the last 10 or so, it hurt like so bad. And I remember running the road section, which is like 8 miles, and it just hurt so much. But I just went all the way to finish. I ran hard to the finish, like you're talking about. And I stopped, and I turned around and I looked at the back of my calf, and there was just this baseball size, like baseball sized lump on the top of my gastroc, like right under my knee. And then my hamstring probably looked weird, but I was just so much pain. Like you can actually see it. I've watched that film, and you can look, and you can like, if you watch the film and you look at my leg, like you don't even have to look that carefully. You just like pay attention to my leg as I'm walking, and you'll see that it's just like there is something wrong there. Like, it's visible how messed up it is. But yeah, I spent that was rough. Like, after that, like I think for like a week or like 5 days, I was just in a lot of pain. But it did get better. Like, it healed. But it was pretty rough going. But I swelled from like my hip to my foot for like I don't know, for like a week maybe. Like, I never saw my lips swell up like that bad. It was ridiculous.
So you and I are talking about this documentary, and we haven't specifically mentioned it. So the one that we're talking about is the one that came out in December. It's just called Zach. It looks like the full name, I just pulled it up, is Zach in Relentless Pursuit of His Best: The Journey of Ultra Runner Zach Miller. Is that the correct title?
Yeah, it's a little long-winded, but yeah, that's it. If people are looking for it, they can just think of it, just like Google Zach film or Zach Ultra Runner. It'll probably pop up. If you just go to YouTube and type in Zach, I think it pops up.
Right, and you're clearly a pretty humble cat, and at this point of your running career, probably used to people following you and talking to you. But what is it like to watch the finished product? What sort of emotions do you go through?
Oh, of that film?
Yeah.
Yeah. it's neat. There's a lot of memories in there. Like Billy kind of pieced together just a lot of, like, not every race, but a lot of different moments throughout my career. So he has footage in there from when I was at K as a nobody, before anybody knew who I was. So that's pretty special to see, because I probably hadn't even seen some of that footage. And like there's stuff in there from Lake Sonoma when I was running for Nike, and stuff in Europe and all that. So yeah, it's just neat. And then he got some home stuff and some stuff from where I grew up, my family and all that. So it's maybe a little funny to watch it. Like it's kind of funny to watch a film about yourself. And the first time I watched it, I was with other people and I kind of wasn't super focused. So like I wasn't quite sure about it. And then I watched it by myself, like in the quiet and alone. And I was like, no, Billy did a really good job with this. Like I like what he put together, and this is pretty neat. So yeah, but it is like, I don't know, it is strange to have or I don't know, it's a little different to be the subject of a film or whatever. Like most things I'm in are just like me running a race or something, and that's just like, oh yeah, I'm just like breathing really hard.
Something you said about bar camp that hadn't occurred to me, that I struggled, and I am a fit person. Okay, I'm not as fit as the people I went up the mountain that day with, but I'm like fitter than the average American. And when I got to the top of Pike's Peak, my head hurt, and I've never experienced that, like elevation. And like we went down, had a slice of pizza, an hour later, it's finally stopped hurting. Like it was really bad. So I know that Americans, as a rule, kind of have magical thinking, like, let's just go do this. So was that a big part of your job? A lot of people that had gotten between bar camp and the top and were like, this guy's not fucking moving. We got to get this guy out of here. Like, did that happen like on the daily, on the weekly?
Not on the daily. So we weren't official search and rescue members at bar camp. So basically how it works is bar camp is contracted, like it's in the paperwork that bar camp functions as a search and rescue base for the search and rescue team down in Colorado Springs, El Paso County. Caretakers are not required to do search and rescue, but usually anyone who becomes a caretaker is into that sort of thing anyways, and so we end up helping out. And so we would, but no, not on the daily. It really just depended. Like if it was a summer, I don't know, it'd be spotty. Like you might get a week where you do like three, maybe 4 calls in 1 week. And then you might go like several months with nothing. There were kind of troublesome times which you knew to look out for. Like summer, there was basically always a chance because it was just the height of hiking season and the weather's good, but it can get stormy in the afternoon. So you just get people biting off more than can chew. And then the other really troublesome time was spring break. It was just classic. Like, caretakers, you just kind of joke among yourselves, but you just feel like, you'd be like, okay, guys, spring break is coming. Like, get ready. Like, we're gonna have to get somebody off this mountain. Like, just classic spring breakers. Because there'd always be like these college kids from like Texas or Minnesota or somewhere that would be like, spring break, like, let's go to Colorado and hike Pike's Peak. And it's like, guys, you came up from Texas. It's like 80 degrees down there, but it's like still full on winter here at bar camp. Like we've got 2 feet of snow and it's like -5 at the summit. Like, and they just come like strolling up, with like no it's like just nothing about it is a good idea. And then they get like off course and like they'll get lost and have to go out and find them like in the middle of the night. Like it's just classic. Like it's it just happens like all like not all the time, but it's just like usually I'd say almost every year you do at least one spring break search and rescue.
That was Zach. Hope you enjoyed it. The entire podcast will be up in the coming days. By the time you watch this, it might not already be up. It might already be up. So check the links below to find out. Also, do you enjoy this content? How'd you like to donate a buck or two? Hop on the Patreon. That's right. Hop on, contribute, be a part of the amazing community that supports this network and all of our podcasts and all of our free content that's always in your ears and in your face, like yesterday's announcement about the Spartan stuff. Go ahead and do it. Here's our links right here. Josh made this. Also, check the links below. Love you, miss you, mean it. I have got to run.